Hi everyone, today in the Man Shack I've got my venerable 2C and a parcel that I've received this week from Bulgaria, from our friend Plamen. I'm going to be taking a look at this device today and also doing another update to the 2C, which we'll go through a little bit later. But without further ado, let's have a look what we got this week. So, as is always, you always get the nice postcard from Bulgaria, from Plamen. It's always a nice touch. And then we've got the box. And what have we got in here? Alright, so what we have, how well that's going to come up on camera, but this is for the 2C versions that don't have the memory expansion capability. This particular product is known as the RAMExpress II, and it combines memory expansion plus internal clock, battery backed. So let's get started by opening up the 2C. We need to unscrew 6 screws, 2 at the back, 2 in the middle, 2 at the front. Then we need to gently prise off around the corners and unclip these little plastic clips around the edge of the case. So starting from the front, just unclip and gently move towards the back, lifting as you go. Now when you get to the back, it's a little bit tricky. You just got to sort of wiggle those last few clips out and pull the keyboard up and towards yourself, and then you can just lift it and flip it over onto the disk drive, so that we can unplug the keyboard cable. Right, now before I go any further, so the plan is that the RAMExpress II, the 2C, will be installed into the CPU socket, and then the CPU gets inserted into that. But while I'm in here, because a great feature of being able to use this is with an updated ROM. Now, there's ROM 4X, which is online. There's it's in GitHub. You can Google ROM 4X for the Apple IIc. You'll find a GitHub page. Inside that page, all the instructions you need. If you've got any sort of development background, you should be able to pick it up. I went through it no problem at all, and I've built the ROM. So what I'm planning on doing today is actually replacing the ROM in here, which is a ROM 0, with the ROM 4X. That gives it a whole bunch of extra features, some of which are particularly handy when dealing with RAM expansion in 2C. So what we're going to do now is, within the software for my VS4000 EEPROM programmer, is load the bin file for the ROM 4X and then burn that to the EEPROM. You can see the EEPROM is burning away there. The EEPROM has finished burning, so we just apply a sticker over the UV window just to protect it. And now it's time to insert it into the 2C. Just disconnect the speaker and very gently remove the existing ROM. Now we can take our newly burnt EEPROM and insert it. Just make sure you get the orientation the correct way. Gently line up the pins, and once you're happy that everything's lined up, give it a nice firm press. Now it's time to remove the CPU. Just be very careful. Some of these bigger dip packages are a little tricky to get out. If you just give it a bit of a wiggle, you can remove it like so. Now we take the RAMExpress II, very carefully line up the pins, and again, once you're happy that everything's lined up, give it a nice firm push down. Now we can install the CPU back, but this time into the RAMExpress II. And then we can insert a battery into the RAMExpress II for the clock and battery backed RAM. Don't forget to reconnect the speaker wire. Unfortunately, I have the keyboard variant with the plastic brace, which interferes, well, the RAMExpress II actually interferes with this. They're not compatible, so as per the instructions in the user manual, this thing needs to go. So I'll try and get some. Oh yeah, it should be just, I don't know if you can see in there, but it's just a prise sort of squeezed together, and it should just pull out. So I'll get my needle nose pliers in there and see if I can remove that. There we go, one side. There we are. Put that on eBay? No. Alright. Let's put it all back together. Okay, with the 2C all reassembled, what we're going to do now is format the newly installed RAM as a RAM disk. That way we'll be able to install some files on it. But first up, let's fire up Copy 2 Plus. Let's skip the date for now. And we'll go down to Format Disk, ProDOS, select Slot 4 Drive 1, which is the default. Ready to format? Yes. Destroy RAM? Yes. And we'll just call it RAM disk. That's how quick it is. Right, so now what we want to do is copy some files onto it. In this case, what I'll be copying is ProDOS 2.4.2, which I have preloaded in slot 6. So I'll be copying from slot 6 to slot 4. Just go through and select all the files. Then hit G for go. And the copying will commence. Okay, what we're going to do now is create a subdirectory on the RAM disk for the declock utilities. Once the subdirectory is created, which it is now, we'll go ahead and we'll copy the declock utilities disk into the subdirectory. So just go ahead and select all the files that we want. Actually, don't want basic system, so we'll take that off the copy list. We'll copy everything else apart from ProDOS, which we don't need. Again, hit G for go. Copy those files into that newly created declock subdirectory. Okay, once the files are copied, what we're going to do is quit out of Copy 2 Plus, and then we're going to navigate down to the declock subdirectory and run the declock utilities. You can see here that I've already set the time, that is the correct time for when this video was shot. What we're going to do now is actually install the clock driver to the RAM disk. So we'll choose number 3. And we just hit enter. That will bring up a list of drives for which we can install the driver onto. So what we'll do is navigate across to where it says RAM disk. And we'll hit enter on that. And that'll go ahead and patch the boot files so that the clock driver is installed. Okay, patching is complete. We hit return. We'll quit from the declock utilities. and we'll actually reboot from the RAM disk. Okay, now let's fire up Copy 2 Plus and see if the date was retained. And yes, it was. Okay, now we're going to boot to the ROM4X menu by using closed Apple control reset. And you can see we've got the options to boot from internal or external drives. I'm going to boot from the internal drive, which in this case is a Nishida Radio Unis Disc Air set up with Total Replay. And I'm going to play some of my favourite game, Karateka. And to sum up, what's my final verdict on this card? I think it's great. It's tiny form factor. It's like a fully maxed out RAMExpress by Applied Engineering with 1 meg on board. It's fairly inexpensive. It's relatively easy to install. You know, anyone who's opened up a 2C and replaced any chips inside the 2C shouldn't really have any problem installing this. Just be careful not to bend any pins when you're removing the CPU, etc. And if you're going to replace the ROM, the same applies. Now I've mentioned the ROM, what do I think of the ROM4X? I think it's a great addition to any 2C which has this extended RAM. I mean, it gives you the ability to boot from internal drive, external drives. It has a RAM test built in. It's a wonderful addition to any 2C with additional RAM. So yeah, to sum up, I think both products are definitely worthwhile having. I know I'm going to enjoy having them in my 2C. I think I'll finish this video up now as I come to dispatch my second villain. Yeah, thank you A2Heaven, and thank you all for watching. Bye for now, and we'll see you in the next video.